Hi, this is Janice. Welcome to another crocheting video. If you are new and are into crocheting, please make sure to subscribe to my channel because I make a lot of crocheting items that I know that you will love. And before I get into this video, I want to share with you these hot pads that I crocheted. And this one I made it in a multicolor. I used gray, white, and pink and purple. And I also made another hot pad which I used a solid color in the color burgundy. And there's many ways you can make these hot pads. You can make them from small, medium to large hot pads depending on how big you want them to be. And what I like about these hot pads is that when you make a multicolor hot pad, it's really colorful and it stands out a lot in your kitchen. And the other thing is that, as you can see, this hot pad that I made is in the shape of a square. But as you turn it around, it turns into a diamond shape. So these are really pretty to make. They're really simple. And I also made a video a couple of months ago on how to crochet a pot holder. So the pot holder that I made the last time, I made it in a single crochet stitch with a little hook so you can hang it in your kitchen. And then the one I made today, it's actually a half double crochet, so it's kind of similar in the shape and size, but the only difference is the stitch is a little different. And I also made chains and half double crochets. But on this hot pad that I made, I did not put a little hook to hang it on to something in the kitchen. So this is just a basic hot pad. So anyways, I am going to start showing you on how to make this half double crochet hot pad. And it's a really simple stitch, especially for beginners that want to learn how to crochet. So I'm going to start off with on how to make this project. The things that you will need in order to make this hot pad are as follows. You will need a pair of scissors, a sewing needle, a crochet needle, and today I'm using the size 6 or G, which is a 4 1/4 millimeter hook, and then I will be using red heart yarn. You can use any type of yarn of your choice. You can use the multicolor like I used here, all in one, or you can use the solid color. So basically it's very simple to make. So I am going to start off by showing you on how to start this hot pad. So the first thing that I am going to start with is to make my 34 chains. Now, like I explained a little bit earlier, it doesn't matter what size of hot pad you want. It all depends on how big you want it. So, for example, the one I'm going to make today, I'm going to use 34 chains. So if you want to make it a little bit bigger, you can make it from 42 chains to 50 chains. It's basically up to you how big you want your hot pad to be. So I am going to start off with making a slip knot. And then I am going to make 34 chains. Now the difference between from other hot pads that I have made, from many times that I've made hot pads, I've noticed that this stitch, I find it a lot easier to make, and it saves you time from making two sets. Like for example, this one is stitched here together, so it's all in one. And the ones that I used to make the top piece first, and then I would make another top piece, and then I would join them all the way around. That's too much of a hassle to do all that. So I just found an easier way to make this, and it's basically you're going to go around in a circle, which I will be explaining here in a few minutes, instead of going to the end and chaining 2 and then turning your work and then start all over again and go back and forth. That's not going to happen in this video today. So I'm going to show you a little trick on how to make these hot pads. Okay, so I already made my slip knot, and now I'm going to make my 34 chains. Now my 34 chains, I have to make them extremely loose. The reason why is because we are going to form like in a shape of a canoe, and then once it gets to the size that you want, and then the 2 ends meet, and then we have to stitch them together. If you make them too tight, they're going to be kind of like wrinkled, and you don't want that. You want it to be nice and flat, just like this one that I made. It's all nice and flat. This burgundy too. So, okay, so let's get this started. So I'm going to make my 34 chains. So that's 1, 2, Okay, so I have my 34 chains, and I did not make them tight at all. They're nice and loose. So now the next thing that I am going to do is the half double crochets. So instead of working in this first chain from the hook, I'm going to work into the second chain from the hook. So I'm going to wrap my yarn around the hook, insert my needle into the second chain from the hook, pull up a loop, wrap the yarn around the hook, and then pull through all the loops. And then in my next chain, I'm going to make a slip stitch. Then I'm going to go into the next chain and make another half double crochet. Then in my next chain, I'm going to make a slip stitch. And I like using this half double crochet stitch because it gives it a really pretty design, especially when you make it loose. You can see how pretty it looks after it's completed. Okay, so basically this is how it's looking out so far. It's a half double crochets, and then a slip stitch, a half double crochet, a slip stitch, half double crochet, slip stitch. So you're going to repeat the half double crochet and the slip stitch all the way till you get to the end. So I am going to work with you until the end, so you kind of have an idea on how to make this, and you will see how simple this project is going to be. You know, I used to buy all these hot pads from the store, and you know, they're made out of material. Within time, they start to fall apart, even though you put them in the washer. But with time and so much use, the material gets all like ruined, and then it started winding up like torn and stuff. So then I just decided to start making my own hot pads. And these hot pads, as long as you take good care of them and you wash them, they come out like brand new. And I never had any problems making these hot pads. They're fun to make, they're easy to make, and they really look nice in your kitchen. And especially for all the women out there that do a lot of cooking like I do, these come in handy no matter what. And the other thing too that I've noticed is if you make the stitches, you know, like for example the half double crochet, the single crochet, as long as the stitches are closed up, it actually prevents from you getting burned, especially when you take out the pots out of the stove or in the oven. And these work really good, because sometimes the material, the heat goes right through it, and I have experienced that they burn you. So I decided not to use those anymore, and then I decided to make my own. Okay, so now I have my first row completed, and instead of me making the 2 chains, turning my work and then go to the next row and then chain 2 and then go to the 3rd row, we're going to do something different. Okay, so once you get to the corner here, then you're going to make a half double crochet in the next chain. Then you're going to do a slip stitch. So basically how you did the first row, you're going to do the same thing all the way around. So now you're going to make another half double crochet, and then you slip stitch, half double crochet. So basically you insert your needle in every single chain, and as you get further and further up, the more rows you make, this is going to start forming into like a little cup, or you can say like a little canoe, which is true, because I will show you how that is going to turn out. As soon as you start adding more rows, you will see that. So you just repeat the same stitch. Just make sure you don't skip any chains, because otherwise you would have to go back and redo it, and you don't want that to happen. So this is how it's turning out. Look at how beautiful this stitch is turning out. It's really nice, and that's because I am making my stitches loose, not tight. Okay, so now I'm going to continue going all the way to the end. And I also want to emphasize to all my viewers out there, if you guys have any suggestions when it comes down to crocheting, please leave them down below, and then I will make them for you. If you have any questions pertaining to a stitch, I will explain that to you. So I'm looking forward to all your comments on what you think about my stitch here. And I hope you guys give it a like and subscribe, because like I said, I've been crocheting for more than 15 years and it's one of my favorite things to do. It relaxes me, especially when I'm all like stressed out. So I enjoy making these things. And I know all those people out there that know how to crochet, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so now I completed my second row. So as you can see, it starts to form a little bit of a cup. So I am going to go ahead, I'm going to continue making some more rows, and then I am going to meet you back and show you how it's turning out. Okay, so I added some more rows and look at how it's turning out. It's really cute. It actually looks like a little half of a purse, but see now, once it starts getting, you know, taller and taller and taller, adding more rows, it's going to look like this. So your questions must be wondering, okay, so now how do I turn it into a hot pad? Okay, here's a trick. So once you get to, say, to this size, okay, and then you're going to turn this around, you're going to lay it flat on your table, and these ends here are going to fall in its place, like so. Okay, so as you can see, we still need to do a couple more rows here, so these two will meet. So I'm going to go ahead and make a couple of more rows, and then I will show you what the next thing is going to be, because we're going to close this up and then we're going to stitch it all the way down until these ends connect. Okay, I have come here to the end. And now you can see that these two sides are starting to join together. They're starting to meet. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish off here. I'm going to cut a long piece of yarn here. And I'm going to make it as long as possible, because now we're going to start joining the two sides. So now with your sewing needle, you're going to start weaving from one side to the next. So if it makes it a lot easier for you, you can either put like a safety pin or your crochet needle just to hold it in its place so it doesn't move as you start stitching. Okay, so now I'm going to start from this point from the top, and I'm just going to go in between these stitches, and you're going to start closing it all up. And on this part, you don't have to be perfect to get in every single chain. It's just as long as it goes in between the, you know, the yarn here, and it's closing up. That's all you want it to look like. See, so now it's closing up here nicely. So I just continue doing this all the way till I get to the bottom of my hot pad. And as you're weaving in between the yarn here, make sure you pull a little bit just to make it secure, because now we want it to be tight. I will meet you back when I finish here, when I get to the bottom, and then I'll show you how it turned out. I have just completed the end here, so now I'm just going to make a knot and cut a little piece off of here. And you can always sew this, or you can just tuck it in inside so that way you can't see it. And just get a little bit here with the needle and just weave it in. Okay, so here is the hot pad that we worked together today. This came out really cute. And let me show you the other ones as well. So I have this one. This is a multicolor one that I showed you earlier. And here's a solid one. This one's a little bit bigger than this one here. Then I have these other two also. They're a little bit smaller, like for small pants. And then this one too. So there's different ways of making these hot pads. So thank you once again for joining me today on how to crochet hot pads. And I hope you enjoyed this video and it was helpful. If you like this video, give it a like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.